Hey guys, it's Nicholas here from upgradetolife.com and welcome to this new quote of the week video, which is going to touch base on the topic of circumstances. And I assume that everyone listening to this video right now has at least once heard the phrase circumstances do not matter. I'm sure if you are in the space of manifesting conscious creation, no matter which life era it is right now that you feel is not the way that you want it to be, or if it is maybe several life eras and you want to change that, then I'm sure you came across this phrase, right? Circumstances do not matter. And although this is the absolute truth, yes, it is true that circumstantial, physical facts as they are right now, they do not matter. They don't dictate how things are going to be. They're previous manifestations, echoing, reverberant, past states now being mirrored back to you. So how can they matter, right? But on the other side, yes, I know that sometimes it is definitely easier said than done, right? It's easier said, yeah, circumstances don't matter, than to just really explain why they don't matter, right? Why is it that a circumstance, as you're faced with it right now, if that is in your relationship life, if that is in your business career life, if that is in your health situation, if that is in your overall lifestyle situation, whatever it is, why is it actually that it does not matter and that this does not dictate how things are going to be? This is in great detail, by the way, also something that I cover in my program and help my clients to ingrain into themselves so that they shift their perspective on life. But it is also something that we are going to talk about right now in this video. So with that, let's just look at the quote. I'm going to read it and explain it as usual. So, can you, in the face of the army of reasons why a thing cannot be done, quietly enter into an agreement with the Lord that it is done? Can you, now that you have found the Lord to be your awareness of being, become aware that the battle is won? Can you, no matter how near or threatening the enemy seems to be, continue in your confidence, standing still, knowing that the victory is yours? Remember, the reward is to the one who endures. Stand still. Standing still is the deep conviction that all is well. It is done. No matter what is heard or seen, you remain unmoved, conscious of being victorious in the end. So I took this quote because for me that is a really, really powerful one, and I want us to touch base on some of the points that Neville made here, right? So he asks his audience, he asks us directly if we can, although our reasons, our mind, our chronological thinking, right, tells us that something cannot be, that currently it is not there, that right now there's the opposite. Can we still agree that it is done, right? And then he basically says, he brings in the word Lord, which just language, just a word. Don't get worried about this word. What he means by that Lord is basically our awareness of being, right? So because if we start to realize who we essentially are beyond our mind, beyond our thoughts, beyond our emotions, beyond our sensations and everything we experience, we then come step by step to the experience that what we are is pure knowingness, pure awareness, pure consciousness, pure beingness that has taken on the form of a human to experience this world of duality. And that can be a fun ride. It can be a not so fun ride sometimes, but that is all fine. But as long as we are identified with the experiences itself, with the circumstances, with the thoughts, with the emotions, we will suffer a lot, right? But if we recognize that we are the awareness that is knowing the experience, that is aware of it, right? Then we can free ourselves from this mind prison, basically, right? And now that we know this, right? And now that we know that this awareness is infinite and that within this awareness, every potential already does exist. There is nothing, there is no reality outside of this awareness. This awareness, this consciousness is the only reality, and everything, every potential state of consciousness does exist within it, aka creation is finished, right? Everything that can have ever been created already has been created, is already in existence, which does not mean that everything already is tangible right now, right? When you imagine something that does exist, that is real, that is an existing reality, it's not tangible yet. So now that we know this, right, can you become aware that the battle is won? Can you, no matter how near or threatening the enemy seems to be, which is just metaphorical language right now, continue in your confidence, standing still, knowing that the victory is yours? And obviously this is hard to do if we are too tied to the senses. And you have to acknowledge that, you have to accept that the mind, the human part of you, right, there's like this, actually there's no two of you, but just for the sake of conversation, the human self, right, experiencing this world of duality, this world of flesh, is tied to the senses, right? The mind cannot believe a thing to be true when it is like not present yet. That is why trying to convince your mind with endless affirmations and this and that won't really work, because that will create resistance and the mind won't believe the thing again if it is not manifested yet, if it's not there yet, if you can't see it or feel it or whatever, hear it, whatever it is, right? So don't try to convince the mind. But if you now know that within your awareness, everything exists, within your imagination, which is awareness in motion, consciousness in motion, you basically take the cue, you take your focus off what is there and you place it on an already existing state. That is what imagination is. When you know that everything does exist within there, can't you then know that it is already done, that the victory is already yours? So this can only be done if you go away from this limited perspective, from this limited paradigm that this is all that there is and I just have to deal with my circumstances as they are right now and yeah, I can't do anything about it, to the perspective that, wait a second, everything is available within awareness. It is actually already done. And if you can imagine that through a scene, through a congratulation situation, through the eavesdropping technique, I will link this above right now, where you hear people talk about your success, whatever it is that implies you are in that state, then isn't it already done, right? If awareness is a reality, if that is real, isn't it already done? Even though your senses still tell you the opposite, you know what you experienced, right? You know what is already existing. And then he says, remember, the reward is to the one who endures. So you can't do this one and then, go back to what your senses tell you and continue to react to this and continue to be triggered by this. And this is not obviously how it works, right? When something triggers you, you go back, make the end state natural again, endure in that until it becomes natural and stable and you carry this state naturally with you. So standing still is the deep conviction that all is well, it is done. But this is the crucial point. You can't just say to yourself, oh yeah, it's done. Oh, just tell the mind, yeah, it's done. This in 99% of the cases won't work because, again, the mind needs proof. The mind is this thing. It is really a great thing, a powerful tool, but it needs the proof. So by you just telling yourself, oh yeah, it's done, I have my end, I am with that desire and it is already done, you won't really help yourself. That won't really lead to this deep inner subjective subtle knowing that it is done. But the subtle knowing is created when you imagine it being done, when you always come back to it and put your awareness on you already being that desired version of yourself, so that it really starts to become deeply ingrained into you. And then, no matter what is heard, no matter what people tell you, no matter the circumstances that you see, you remain unmoved. And you will automatically remain unmoved, right? It's not something you force yourself, where you act as if and where you say, oh yeah, I just ignore this is not there yet. No, you literally start to be like indifferent to what is currently showing up because you know what is true for you. So you can have some health symptoms, you can see undesirable circumstances in your relationship life, you can be lonely right now, not being in a relationship, your business could right now not do the numbers that you want to make, your job could not be the way that you want it to be. That is the outer circumstances. But if you went to the end inwardly and you know that you experience it, you know it is done, you have identified with that, then you can check in with yourself. If you still react, if you're still triggered, then you're actually like not living in the end. But when you see it like, all right, sure, that's just how it is right now, but I know what is already true for me, then you are really close to like expressing that state. Because as we know, the state that we live in always has to express itself. I will link a video on this above right now. Your life expresses your state of consciousness. And that is how it goes, right? And that is, of course, a practice. Like, don't expect to like wake up tomorrow and be a master at this. Of course, there might be challenging circumstances. Like, I don't want to sugarcoat anything here. Yes, that is the truth. But also, at the same time, the truth is that these teachings work when you continue with them, when you continue to practice, apply them, understand them, and work with them consciously, right? You can't just be a hero, you have to be a doer. So no matter what the army of the reasons tell you, no matter what your senses tell you, what your mind tells you, if it seems like it's not possible, if it seems like it's not here yet, and even if you ask the question, oh, like, Nicholas, what would you do? What would have Neville done? I've seen no one that done it. If that would be the measurement, if something is possible or not, there would be no human progress, because, how can Steve Jobs, for example, have created the iPhone? It was also not there yet. So he brought it into manifestation out of his imagination. So the same is true here. You can't measure if something has already been achieved or not by looking at what is or looking what other people did. You have your individual desires. And if you can imagine a state, it does exist. The question is then obviously, do you you actually desire this? Then your mind thinks, oh no, maybe you want this, and then let the ego come into play? Or do you take the desire on as it comes and go straight to the end of, for example, I am happily partnered, I am in a stable, loving, committed, great relationship, or I am a successful business owner, I make, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100K per month. That is my state, and therefore it has to express, right? And you don't have to, again, force it. Whenever a doubt is coming up, a fear is coming up, you don't know what to do next, you are confused, you feel triggered. Whenever you feel out of your state, don't judge it, don't label it, observe it, let it be there. Perfect. That is a high form of wisdom, observing without judging. And then you gently bring yourself back to the end state with whichever way resonates most with you. And that can be just as simple as saying, oh, I remember when I struggled in business and now I'm doing absolutely amazing. If that evokes within you this inner knowing that you're absolutely successful in business, you can go with that. Or really powerful, experience imaginative scenes with congratulations, with hearing things, with seeing certain things that imply that you have achieved the goal already. Because what this does is, again, you start to identify with the version of you that already has it. And then when you embody it automatically, this will then become your lived experience. Okay? So that just as a reminder, again, on circumstances. Probably on my channel there will be also other videos coming on circumstances and stuff, but that is also just a reminder that you can practice that a little bit more here and there, and you should obviously, like I say, always not take your cue from them, because what is this serving you? If you feel you have bodily symptoms, right, with illness, and then you say, oh yeah, I'm ill, oh no, probably this will last for 2 months, and yeah, every year at this time I get sick. How is this going to benefit you? How is this going to empower you? Whereas if you say, okay, I'll let these symptoms be right now, but I assume straightforward health. I assume that I never get sick. And then also the same approach for the other areas, right? It's a practice. You will get better at this, but just see the truth of it and just see that your reasoning mind can tell you something else than you have alive within you internally. That's the core point of this video, basically. So if you have questions on that, leave it in the comments down below. If you want to learn more about Neville's teachings, how you can integrate them in your life, how you can apply them, how you can get results from them, then first of all, check out the free masterclass, which is also linked beneath, where I give you a straightforward explanation on what matters, how can you as quick as possibly learn them, apply them, and just have fun with them, have fun with your life. And if you feel that you want to work with me, if you feel that you resonate with, how I explain things, and you want me to keep you personally accountable on this journey, then you can also apply for a free 45-minute consultation call with Upgrade Your Life, where we will see, if we are a good fit, we will diagnose the situation, give you a game plan, and then you can just decide if you, want to team up with me or not. That's the second link in the description. And with that, I will conclude this video. I speak to you in the next one. Bye, guys.